board will now reconvene in open session, and the time is 6:14. We thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us tonight. At this time, we would respectfully ask you to turn off the sound of your cell phone. May I remind anyone wishing to address the board that they must have completed a public comment card before the start of the public portion of tonight's meeting, indicating the agenda item that they wish to talk about. As your Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals for the district, listen to reports presented by the superintendent and his designees, approve and review the budget, approve certain personnel appointments and contracts, and make policy for the district. Management is a responsibility of the superintendent. It is the board's responsibility to govern the affairs of the district and ensure that the district is moving forward and meeting the vision and goals that are set on an annual basis. Meeting times for board meetings are posted on the AISD website at abilingisd.org. The public is invited to attend, always. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Patty Blue, Associate Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, to lead our invocation and pledges. Welcome, Patty.
Good evening. Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we come before you today with humble hearts, grateful for the opportunity to serve our community, our educators, and most importantly, our students. We thank you for the freedom to gather, to speak, and to lead. Lord, we ask your wisdom to guide us, help us to listen with compassion, to speak with grace, and to lead with integrity. Remind us that our shared purpose is not found in our differences, but in our commitment to the success and well-being of every child in our district. May we never lose sight of the responsibility entrusted to us to create a safe, inspiring, and nurturing environment for all students, regardless of their background, beliefs, or needs. Unite us in the calling to build a future where each student has the opportunity to grow in knowledge, in character, and in hope. We ask for your peace in our hearts, your wisdom in our decisions, and your blessing over this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And if you'll join me in the pledges now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We'll now move on to item 3C, Board Superintendent Announcements. Dr. Kuhn, what do you have for us?
I have, first of all, to introduce to you Miss Melissa Spiegel. She is the principal of Alcorta Elementary, and Melissa recently had some major maintenance work done at her campus, and I've asked her to come and share some remarks with the board about her experience with our maintenance team. Ms. Spiegel, please step to the podium, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. Board, thank you for approving our work at Alcorta. The project was scheduled to begin on September 9th, and when Dr. Kuhn came on the 17th for his Vader presentation, he was like, well, how's it going? Are they getting underway? And I was so grateful to be able to report that they were in fact finished. They had already covered their work up, and we were operating fully again. And so I just wanted to say thank you to you guys, first of all, for approving that project, but also to our maintenance crew, because in those 7 days and even leading up to that, it was sort of uncertain times, and we didn't know if we were going to have 4 potties or 6 potties that day, and they were just so great to communicate every step along the way, and I'm so grateful for that, because I knew exactly how my kids were going to go home, that wasn't going to be interrupted, that they were going to be able to come into the building uninterrupted too, and so that makes a huge difference on an elementary campus. And I can tell you, in those 5 short days that Dr. Waldron was there every single day, just kind of giving me an update and if he couldn't be there, Mr. Wallace was there. Brian Mankey was huge. Nathaniel was our head plumber in charge of the things that we were doing at Abilene ISD, and he was wonderful at communicating. And Ismail is our plumber that's assigned to our campus, and he's there, and he's so determined. Like, there's not a project that he's not willing to just dig deep and, pardon the pun, and figure out, that was perfect, and just kind of figure out what the solution is going to be. And so I just wanted to publicly thank you guys for your direction in that project, and thank you, board, for allowing that to happen.
Thank you so much, Ms. Spiegel. Thank you, Ricky, for you and your team, all that you guys did. And I do want to say they literally did dig deep. The trenches were 10, 12 feet deep and stretched for many yards in multiple directions. So it was a major job, and thank you very much. Appreciate you sharing that. The balance of my time I'll spend with a quick statement. Did y'all clap? Did y'all want to clap for the maintenance? Go ahead and do that. They really did do a great job. There's been a growing conversation in our community about the books available in school libraries and classrooms, and I want to say that these are important discussions. As we navigate these conversations, I believe honesty must remain at the center of the conversations. Parents have every right to be involved in their children's education, and AISD wants involved families. I personally want involved families. We appreciate highly involved, caring, loving parents, and we want more of them, not less. Schools have a responsibility to provide transparency, choice, and academic integrity. We try very hard to do this every single day at AISD. At our meetings in November and December, we will provide additional relevant updates on our efforts to meet this moment and continue AISD's upward trajectory that we see happening all around us right now. Thank you.
I don't know if you've noticed, but there is an interesting display on the board dais right in front of Dr. King. These are hand-decorated shoes that commemorate the famous Crosstown Showdown, the sporting event that we have every year here in AISD. The shoes were designed by Marissa Williams and her husband, and they were entered in the West Texas Fair Rodeo competition. And after that was over, she wanted us to have them, but she didn't know what to do with them. So we are very, very happy. I can understand, but we do. We know exactly what to do with them. Mr. and Ms. Williams were kind enough to donate the great display to AISD so we can keep them on display as a tribute to our amazing athletes from Abilene High and Cooper High. Go Eagles, go Kicks. Thank you for your generosity to the Williams family. I like having it up there. That's kind of fun. At this time, we'll have our regular feature called the Teaching Minute, so you please sit back and enjoy.
Honestly, yeah, I thought it was gonna be some kid like with the horn. Like, I didn't think it would be a whole guy.
It's a whole guy. Hi, I'm Riley Wilkerson. I teach AP US History here at Cooper High School. So our AP class is preparing for an AP exam in May, and we have a lot of content that we have to get through. We go from about the 1400s to about the 2000s, and so one of the things that we're trying to prepare today is how we can process some of that information, especially through some active collaboration. And so as we've been going through information and kind of understanding a little bit more about how they're putting these principles of the Constitution into practice, today you're going to see how you would put it into practice. So today we're going over AP Key Concept 3.2, and we're also going over AP Key Concept 3.3. Today my AP kids are working in groups to kind of live out some of the presidencies of Washington and Adams. They're going through some choose your own scenarios where they'll be able to look at some real life government issues like domestic affairs with the Whiskey Rebellion, with foreign issues with Britain, and talking about how some of the arguments maybe that they have from the 1800s are still some of the arguments that we have here in our government today. Now, you're in teams because you're going to have to make decisions as a group. As they're working in groups, they're going to be having to agree together, and then once they've been able to decide which scenario they want to go with, one person will get up, they'll grab some of those scenarios scenarios, and they can see some of the causes and effects. And so being able to kind of live some of those decisions out will hopefully help them process, but it'll also help them bring a little bit of humanity to how the government works. And the more that we can understand about the processes of the past, the more equipped that we're going to be for whatever comes in our experiment of democracy for the future. I love being able to teach the juniors, and I get really proud of how much work they put in and how much they push themselves, especially from the beginning to the end of the year. College Board expects a lot of us, and so I'm always really proud of how far that they come, and I get excited about them becoming our future citizens as well. And I love that I get to teach this here at Cooper.
That is a good time to point out that this class at Cooper, AP students, fulfilled our mission. AISD will equip learners to make a positive impact in their world through relevant, innovative, and challenging learning experiences. Thank you for that teaching minute. Now let's move on to item 4, recognitions. This is Texas Education Human Resource Day. I would like to read from the Office of the Governor and for the Education Human Resource Day. And we would like to also recognize our human resource in our district who perform a lot of small miracles every day in getting our campuses stocked and filled with the right people. Texas is proud, this is from the State of Texas Office of the Governor. Texas is proud of our commitment to a quality education system that places students firmly on the path to a lifetime of excellence and achievement. An integral part of the success of our schools are the human resource professionals who play a critical role in our education system. Vital throughout all industries, human resource workers are particularly important in education. These hardworking men and women are skilled and efficient in talent acquisition and retention. By recognizing potential teachers, human resource professionals surround our students with highly capable educators who will develop the next generation into the leaders of tomorrow. At this time, I encourage all Texans to recognize the importance of human resources in education. I commend the professionals' continued commitment to meeting the needs of students and teachers alike, as these professionals pave the way for a better, brighter future for the next leaders of our great state. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, do hereby proclaim October 8th, 2025 to be Education Human Resource Day in Texas, and urge all Texans to observe the occasion with appropriate ceremonies and activities. In testimony whereof, I have hereunto affixed my signature on the 5th day of September 2025. And we are happy to follow through with his intentions by recognizing our Human Resources Department led by Ms. Allison Sims.
We're going to ask y'all to come up here for a picture, and we have a certificate. And then Allison, after the picture, if you'd like to share some words about your team, or do you want to talk a little bit
You do
first?
that.
Let me do that first.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I am beyond blessed to work with a whole team of people who make things happen in our district quickly and efficiently and in a caring manner. The number one thing I think that you will see as you walk into our department area is that each person that works in there truly cares about the people we serve, which are our teachers and paraprofessionals and facilities workers and all of our employees. And so we're just blessed to work on such a great team. And the people in front of you, I have Chris Bailey, Joy Wiggins, Tyler Burton, they help make that happen, but there are a group of ladies that work in the back of that office that they're not here, but I have to tell you, those are the true heroes. They make it happen. I come in, ask them for something, and they just turn it around quickly to serve our hiring managers. So very thankful for them.
Thank you, Allison. Come on up. We'll give you a round of applause and we'll take a picture.
Move on over
You want to get
in the middle?
center?
Yeah, can I have y'all move over to the left a little bit? Unfortunately, I have to cover up the artwork.
We do appreciate all y'all there.
Oh, yes, those are good. Perfect. All right, y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, I can see everybody. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much for all you do.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to item 5, oral communication from the public. The board encourages comments about the district from members of the public. Anyone wishing to address the board must have completed a public comment card before the public started the meeting, indicating the agenda item or the topic about which they wish to speak. Oral communication from the public is governed by our AISD policy, BED local. Under the Texas Open Meetings Act, the board is not permitted to discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda. A speaker will be given up to 5 minutes to address the board. If, however, the number of speakers seeking to address the board at a meeting exceeds 5, the per speaker time limit may be reduced. In no event will a speaker be given less than 1 minute to address the board tonight. We have 14 speakers, so we will be adjusting the time to 2 minutes apiece. Dr. Kuhn will monitor the time and make the speaker aware when the time is up. So we are very proud and thankful to have all of you here tonight. We'll start with Mr. Mike Thompson. Welcome, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you for listening to me tonight. Since you are appointing members to the Library Advisory Council, I'd like to make a comment considering about sexually explicit materials in the public library or in the school library. I'd like to make an analogy of a tree. Everybody likes trees, I hope. I'm a tree lover myself. When I think about trees, I think about what's the type of tree that you want to plant in your yard here in West Texas, which has a rough life. If you're like my trees, they need a lot of attention once they go in the ground, especially when it's drought in October with high temperatures like it is. What tree would you like to prefer to plant in your yard? A young tree that was nurtured in a greenhouse, given every opportunity to reach its full potential, given the correct amount of water, correct amount of nutrition, fertilizer and such, and given every opportunity to be a good strong tree once it's planted. Healthy temperature, never gets too hot, never gets too cold. And when it's finally planted, a good root system underneath it so it can withstand harsh temperatures, harsh weather going forward. It's all been established in the greenhouse. Or would you prefer a sapling that grew up randomly along the side of the road or in a rough place? The small tree had to withstand all the world's influence, which is out there, and really not able to withstand the cold and the lack of nutrition and the lack of water. Would you prefer having a tree that has everything going for it when it is finally planted in your yard, or when it has had to undergo things that were not good for its nutrition and growth, and given its very best chance to be a great tree that would be deep roots and would produce much? I think that pornography at any age is detrimental. I've been a porn addict myself. I know the detriments to that. And I know if it's introduced early in age, you're more likely to go that direction. So anytime we can keep that from our children, the better off we will be. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, Tammy Fogel.
Good evening, Board, Dr. Kuhn. Before I've come, I had a list to show you of books that were in the library, and they weren't necessarily dealt with. Well, now I found even worse books, and I've got another list that I verified today that are in the library, and if we don't deal with it in public, we can't fix this problem. So I'm going to read to you from Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, because this is what's allowed for our students to read. This is in Abilene High. Are you going to eat her pussy? Yeah, Earl, I'm going to eat her pussy. Do you even know how to eat pussy? Someday you're going to have to eat pussy. But did he teach me to eat a butthole? Use some pussy eating technique, but it's complicated. You got like 20 pussies over here, and I need to eat. I'm talking about pussy, a whole lot of pussy. Want to have sex? Were you able to get a boner? It's impossible for me to get a boner sometimes. We had this pillow and it got me aroused. You slutty pillow, you're such a dirty slut. And caught that pillow having oral sex with this table across the street. Suggest that you habitually masturbate over my pillows. You want relish for your pussy? Just holler. You got a combination of food and sex, like oral sex. Yeah, fuck shit. He can lick my ass clock. Fuck butthole. Like the fine new girl, making me hard, goddamn sense. Goddamn, my person get me hard, get a hard on, all kinds of freaky shit. Titties get a hard on. Fucky dick, harder, 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 shit hard. Big ass hard on shit, big ass titties, what the fuck. And I've been here and I've watched you say everything's fine. It's not fine, and these books are disgusting. They're sexually explicit, and that's what SB 13 is about. Stop the purchasing. The Library Council will allow these books to be removed. That you told me I had to take this book to the Library Council because you will not remove it due to the graphic nature. This is not a lack of integrity. This is a lack of action, and we need you as the board to stand up and do the right thing. It's not too much work because it's about transparency, and it's about making sure our kids are not exposed to this stuff and on our taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Next. I'm sorry. Jim? Jill.
Jill.
Wishenko, yes. Sorry. I didn't have a chance to preview these, so sorry. But we do welcome you.
I did grow up Johnson.
That's much easier. I was Jones.
It's Muzachenko.
Muchenko.
Yes, ma'am. Children, youth, and teenagers are not autonomous. Autonomous, by definition, describes somebody who's not controlled by others or outside forces, independent, self-directed, self-governing. Anyone who has raised children or works with youth knows this is not the case. The written word has been crucial in preserving and transmitting teaching and history. Words can be used for good and evil. They're a tool to connect, educate, and inspire. Words can profoundly change lives forever. In the wrong hands, words can become mental rape, which invades the mind, spirit, and soul. I am advocating for the safety and academic success of Abilene's youth. We are finding ourselves in a war over our children. Let's unite to protect them from this horrific sexual revolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Marta Hollowell. Welcome.
Thank you. I am a teacher. I've been a teacher for over 25 years. Currently, I'm teaching at Premier High School, public charter school here in Abilene. The vast majority of our kids come from Abilene High and Cooper. I graduated from Cooper myself. Some of these books we're talking about tonight are prohibited reading to Texas prisoners, but yet these books are in our libraries. This one particular one I'm going to read from is called Boy Toy by Barry Liga. And it's about a young man who's having an affair with his teacher. And you get excerpts like, her boob, her breast was just resting against my shoulder. Her breast lay there, heavy against me. I was rock hard and no time flat. It's talking about watching TV with a controller and an erection. Aware of how close her breast and hip my hand was. The long winter coat that hid my heart on. Her breast pushed up and strained against the material of her blouse. I could see right up her skirt to her panties. They were naked. I had seen naked bodies before. I was fiercely erect. This is what our kids are reading. And like I said, I've been teaching for 25 years. I have never seen so many kids with anxiety and depression problems within the last 3 or 4 years than I have now. And it's becoming a problem with the kids. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Next, Darla Avery.
Hello, Board. I too I'm a retired educator, served 20 years in public education, and we're grateful for the advisory board, library advisory board, and this is a book that's from Abilene High. It's called Beautiful Girls, and here's some of the excerpts of that. Put his hand on her boob. He uses it to drink and jerk off. It wouldn't be a baby yet, so I had an abortion this morning, including a picture of his dick, bunch of normal pictures with a penis thrown in. He was on top of me. He was so heavy. I tried to push him off, and I couldn't breathe. I could feel his dick. I bit until I tasted effing blood, and that's not really what it said. You haven't been effed yet, and that's really not what it said as well. Effing Evan, just to be nice. A tiny bag drop and laid in his drink. Sprinkling the yellowish crystals into his drink. I wanted to punch him in the effing head. After all, those popular bitches who previously wouldn't have sucking his dick saw it and clicked, and anyway, instead of waiting for him to kill him, made F her in at once, I shot myself in the head. Wrapping a rubber cable around his wrist and kneeling on his knees, which are already tied. Whatever you think, you're doing it. This is insane. Please stop. You're actually planning on killing him? Thank you. This is outrageous.
Denise Ballou. Welcome.
My name is Denise Reeder Ballou. I grew up in Abilene, Texas, and I was a 1978 graduate of Cooper High School. David Barnfeen was my principal. And the problems that we're seeing now, we did not have then. I have 5 grandchildren, none of them in Abilene, but I'm very disgusted with what's going on. I just moved from Waco after 35 years, and I'm disgusted with what is going on in the Abilene schools. And when I read a comment that the superintendent made, complaining about the teachers having to do all this extra work to catalog books in their classrooms, yeah, it's a shame that that has to happen, isn't it? But this is why it has to happen. I do, in addition, want to thank you for putting together this council so that we can hurry up this process and get these books addressed and get them out of the school. This is an excerpt from Cooper High School, my ex-alma mater. After we kissed for a while, we took off his pajama top and then said, "Let's take yours off too. It's in the way." Then there were just my bikini pants and Michael's bottoms between us. We kissed again. Feeling him against me made me so excited. He rolled over on top of me and we moved together again and again. And it felt so good I didn't ever want to stop until I came. After a minute, I reached for Michael's hand. "Show me what to do," I said. "Do whatever you want. Help me, Michael. I feel so stupid." "Don't," he said, wiggling out of his pajama bottoms. He led my hand to his penis. "Catherine, I'd like you to meet Ralph." "Ralph, this is Catherine. Does every penis have a name?"
Time.
This is sick, and it needs to be addressed immediately.
Susan Perry. Welcome, Ms. Perry.
Thank you. I'm a longtime resident of Abilene, longtime teacher, mostly here in Abilene, and graduate of Abilene High. From our research, these books have been found, or this book, Identical by Ellen Hopkins, has been found in Abilene High and Cooper High. And as someone else mentioned, this one is also on the No Prisoner Can Read It list here in Texas. So my question is, why are our students allowed to read it here in their library? And I'm just going to read some excerpts. And this is about mostly about drug use. Fat, stinky joint, good friend marijuana, marijuana, fuck, don't give me shit, quickie, oxy, wild turkey, fifth of whiskey, sip of whiskey, oxy, oxy turkey merry-go-round, opiated hash, opium-laced hashish, drinking, smoking, creep of the poppy, high in mostly hash, cannabis, opium, heroin, cocaine, maybe ecstasy, pedophiles, oxy, fucking daddy, letting daddy fuck you, suicide sounds better and better. And on the one of the last pages, there was a line that said, what do I have to live for? Can't think of a single thing. And I think when children of all ages, if we don't protect them, that's what they're going to think when they are exposed to this kind of material.
Thank you. Dana Cross. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you. I'm a resident of Abilene. Did not go to school here. Went to nursing school here at Mary Mick School of Nursing in the mid-'70s. So way back. Anyway, have been here now in Abilene for 35 years this go around. This is also a book both in Abilene High and Cooper. It is prohibited also for Texas prisoners. This book is about drug use and sexuality that it leads to. Been smoking since I was 13, staying up all night. We used to do coke till Just Say No. Then we had to put that stuff out of reach. Now it's crank, meth, and the monster. Crank is the name of the book by Ellen Hopkins. It says, never tried to put me in my place. I wanted to meet the monster. She does by page 114. Hands covered my mouth, rough held my arms, strong tore my clothes, vicious. Fear danced up my spine, jolted my brain, dripped onto the ground. No, I screamed. Not this way. Buttons burst, zippers opened. I closed my eyes, embraced for pain. The monster rose up hard in her. Page 308, pot smoke hung in the air and another big snort before inhaling a couple of tiny tokes. By 341, starts with a kiss cranked that was revved. Kisses segued into bites and bruises. Pain ripped through my body. Brendan, please stop. No. Off came the shorts, down went the zipper. I realized I was in trouble.
Time.
Thank you.
Okay, Ben Muchinko. Did I do better?
You did good.
Hi, my name's Ben Muzashenko. Man, I am just listening to this. Hard to sit there and just hear what they're exposing to our children. You know, I imagine it's hard, hopefully it's hard for you to even allow this in your homes with your children. I don't know. But thank you for letting me speak, because I want to tell you something. Protecting our children may cause a lack of popularity even in some Christian circles. but they are worth it. All human beings are subjected to potentially being corrupted by sin. Therefore, we need to examine ourselves as parents, friends, and institutions to prohibit any kind of influence that could negatively affect our youth. There are books that seek to groom and corrupt minds of our young children to engage in sexual perversion. Learning about harmful and perverted sexual behavior stains the mind, robs the children of their innocence. Love does not rejoice at injustice, but rejoices with the truth. Come on, let's celebrate innocence and champion of family. Thank you.
Thank you. Tracy Williard? That's it. Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Tracy Williard, and I live in Abilene, Texas, and I'm an ex-warbird. I'm a proud warbird. I would like to speak from my heart tonight and share a short testimony. In the 70s, my family were missionaries in Japan, and from the time I was 5 to 12 years old. America still had boundaries and safety nets for its children. Japan, on the other hand, had no boundaries when it came to pornography and lascivious behavior. Everything from children's cartoons on TV to bus wraps going down a public street were filled with pornographic material. Unfortunately, we were thrust into that culture without being prepared. My parents are wonderful, but they didn't know what I was exposed to. The seeds planted in my heart and brain distorted and stole my innocence. When we moved back to America, I had led a very destructive adolescent life. I got pregnant at 16 and quit school at Abilene High. It really messed me up. My identity was marred, and I viewed myself as dirty, even though it wasn't me who let those images in. My parents were my gatekeepers. They did their best with what they knew. You are the gatekeepers of AISD school children while they're on your property. I am not going to assume your motive as to why you haven't removed these books and why they remain on our school shelves. What I will ask, though, is why? Why have you not removed them? Why do you feel it's okay to keep them? Please don't take this lightly. I would have loved it if someone had warned my parents before we landed in Japan what to watch out for. It took years to overcome my horrible self-image and the consequences of what I was exposed to so young. I was 5 when I think I saw my first image, and I won't explain what I saw, but it affected me. I want to thank you for listening, and I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for serving our community.
Next, John Berry. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for hearing me. I really don't have to say too much, but I will as a lawyer. But I just have to look at the women that came up here. I know every one of them. Do you know how hard it was for them to read that? And do you know how much it meant to them to get across to you how much this means to us? We started off with a prayer, and I know everybody here is not a Christian, but I am, and many of us are. And God tells us, He tells us in Philippians 4:8 that we're to focus on whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable. My wife wrote that also, in addition, that we should focus on high ideals for our students, to be able to set the example for our students. Yes, they need to hear a little bit about the world that they're going to greet, but you know, they're going to run into that bad stuff in the world anyway. And what I'm begging at everybody that comes on board is there's two things. One, what we keep out of the books, and number two, what we put in the books. And you know, I can't believe there's anybody in this room or anybody who takes another position that believes we don't draw a line somewhere. At the age of 14 years of age, is it okay to give them a book that shows copulation, a little picture of it, of men and men, women and women, man and woman? There are lines to be drawn. And I know sometimes that can be tough, but these lines don't look too tough to me. You can make points to address children to be able to prepare them for a world without filth. And the filth needs to be put away. And God tells us to focus on the good. He knows what's good for us. So whether you're a Christian or not, I beg you to not only take away that, but look for the noble and to give us better. You know, when I hear about the fact that it's too much work.
Time.
Wow, that's 2 minutes. Thank you.
Appreciate
It's not too much work, by the way, to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just started using this doggone tape.
You're doing great. John Hill.
Thank you for letting us speak this evening, and thank you for your stewardship of the resources to educate our children. Both my daughters attended AISD from kindergarten through 12th grade. One was valedictorian of her Abilene High class of 2020, graduated summa cum laude from the University of Richmond, is now earning her master's at the University of Chicago. The other daughter, class of 2021, represented Abilene High at state in tennis twice, graduated this spring from Trinity University as a 6-time All-American at tennis. So thank you for preparing them for college and life. I won't give you all the credit. Our family invested plenty of enrichment to get them there, but AISD gave them 13 years of kind teachers, appropriate curriculum, and lessons on how to work with others. Myself, I'm a college professor, and I tell my college students it's half academics and half learning to navigate different and difficult personalities, and I feel like the school district did that well. When I was on city council, our city manager used to joke, 1 person is a grassroots movement, 2 is a groundswell, 3 is a mandate. There were about 10,000 people that voted in our last school board election. Many more didn't vote at all. Their absence at these meetings and indifference to voting is an endorsement of your management. Your critics are no mandate, no groundswell, not even a grassroots movement. Starting with my mother-in-law, who was raised by a single parent and grew up in a garage apartment on Grape Street, 3 generations of women in my family are proud products of AISD. You enabled them to earn college degrees and become good citizens. As a believer in small government, I don't know what else we could ask for. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin Wertheim.
Good evening, and thank you for your service. Many of you know we moved back 25 years ago to raise our children here. We are three generations of AISD grads. I'm the first college graduate. My kids are college graduates. I have a professor and a minister, and they were raised beautifully here with the help of AISD. From Miss Parton to Mr. McGee to Coach Bryan to so many people who cared about them, I want you to know you have great people working in this district, and we support those people. I also want you to know that I volunteer in the schools, so I'm in the schools on a regular basis. So even though my children are gone, I'm still there. And last Monday, I witnessed drop-off at Taylor Elementary. At 7 a.m., a child who's very difficult, has a very difficult life, has to be brought to school early. And I watched as his teacher and his aide and his principal coaxed him out of the car before anybody got there and took the time and the patience and loved that child. I watched kids I knew fly in. I watched a principal direct traffic, which she didn't have to do. I watched loving high fives, attaboys, friendships, people taking care of one another. And I just want you to know that Abilene Schools does a good job, and this graduate is very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you for your support. Amanda Pittman.
Hello, I am a parent of 3,
current students, 2 at Abilene High and 1 at Mahan. Public education thrives on exposure, not restriction. Public education exists to prepare students for the real world, not to protect them from it. That means giving them access to a wide range of books and ideas, even those that might feel uncomfortable or complex. When students read broadly, they learn to think critically, build empathy, and understand perspectives different from their own. Shielding them from challenging material doesn't make them safer, it makes them less prepared to navigate life with discernment and compassion. Education should teach students how to think, not what to think. Curiosity, not censorship, is what strengthens young minds. I deeply appreciate those in leadership here at AISD. It is true, no organization is perfect. However, I wholeheartedly believe in the leadership and experience that our teachers have. I could go school by school, campus by campus, with examples of individuals who've worked tirelessly and faithfully to shape tens of thousands of minds in this community over many, many years and decades. I believe in their wisdom, experience, and passion for my children. And here's the thing, no one is arguing that kids should hear what we have heard tonight, but there's already a process that exists to bring those concerns before you. And of course you don't want those books to be on shelves without parents knowing about them. And I don't feel that you do. I don't feel like anybody's trying to hide anything from me. In about 5 seconds, my kids could find all of those words on the internet with a device that they have in their pocket. So that's my job, to be parenting and to be having those conversations. And I know that's gonna happen. I know they're gonna hear those things at school. And I know that you want what's best for my kids as well. So thank you very much.
Time.
Thank you. We do appreciate the time people have taken to come and be here. We always invite the public to join us. Oh, that's all of them. Let's now move on to item 6, consent agenda. The AISD Board of Trustees meetings are preceded by in-depth workshops, which are held prior to regular meetings. The purpose of the workshop meeting of the board is to discuss items in preparation for potential consideration at future board meetings. Meeting times are posted on the AISD website at AbileneISD.org. The public is invited to attend. Do we have anything that needs to be moved from the consent agenda by a board member? Do we have a motion regarding the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Wheat. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dr. Tidmore. Now take a roll call vote. Bill Enriquez,
Yes.
Taylor Tidmore,
Yes.
Danny Wheat,
Yes.
Blair Schrader,
Yes.
Rodney Goodman, absent. Cindy Earls,
Yes.
Angie Wiley, yes. Motion passes 6-0. Now let's go to item 7, public hearing on District of Innovation. The public hearing is now open and the time is 7:01. Ms. Allison Sims, Associate Superintendent for the Development of Human Resources, please give us a brief summary of what District Innovation is for AISD.
All right. So in Abilene ISD, we currently have a District of Innovation plan, and we really, because of some legislation and then also for some other reasons to add some things to kind of shore up our plan, would like to restart that process. So I'm going to share a little bit about what it is. First of all, District of Innovation is a designation that lets us, public schools, do some things that are similar to what charter schools already get to do. It allows exemptions from certain Texas Education Code requirements, and it enables local control to better serve students and communities for things like uniform school start date and things like that matter to our community. This is a timeline of the proposed reopening of the District of Innovation process. Tonight would be the adoption of a resolution We're in the midst of public hearing, and then the appointment of a District of Innovation Committee. That committee would meet and develop and modify our plan over three meeting dates. And then once it is adopted by committee, it is posted on our AISD website for at least 30 days. And if you'll see there, it will be quite a bit more than that, just based on the timeline. Then our DWCC will vote, and if they approve the plan, it will come to you in January for final approval. Some examples of the exemptions, that's really the important part of all this. This is just a brief list. There are tons of things that the committee could choose to look at. All of them just bring us up on some things. So one is uniform school start date, teacher certification for teachers of elective courses, class size waiver submission, instructional minutes flexibility for teacher professional development. It lets us get a little bit more of that in there if we need to. Simple things like expanding the number of absences that college juniors and seniors in high school can get so that they can go visit college with an excused absence. And then probationary contract extension and teacher appraisal. It allows us to use a locally developed one if we would like to. And then there's a piece on bank depository term bids and awards. We're going to look at pretty much every option that we can that we think would benefit our teachers, our students, and our families. So the door is wide open. All of them are things that are allowable with the District of Innovation process being reopened. So a few things. In order to be a District of Innovation, we have to be publicly transparent. It will always be posted on our district website. We have to maintain our academic standards. If we were to fall into unacceptable category multiple years, the commissioner could revoke our DOI plan. And then we also have to demonstrate financial integrity. Some things we can't do: we can't get out of state testing, we can't get out of student and teacher safety requirements, special education and bilingual education, those rules all will still always apply. Can't change graduation requirements, and we also have to stay financially accountable. So just a few of the requirements I mentioned, a few of the things. The plan must be posted on the AISD website. Before the final plan is brought to approval for you, we have to notify the commissioner that the board is intending to vote on the DOI plan 15 days before then. We must regularly review and monitor our exemptions, and then we must maintain compliance with non-exempted requirements. That's a lot in a short amount of time. Do you have any questions for me about the District of Innovation process?
Just for myself, and then also the public who wishes to address the board regarding the District of Innovation are welcome to join Allison. Is this very common nowadays in Texas that most districts have some type of a District of Innovation?
Yes. In fact, you can get on the TEA website, you just type in District of Innovation. It'll show you a list of every district that has a District of Innovation plan, and it is a very lengthy list. It's very long. Most districts, I would say, in the state of Texas have some form of a District of Innovation plan. All of them very different, just based on the needs of that community and that school district.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to comment? I think we have someone back there.
Go ahead. Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Tammy Fogel. I really try to pay attention, and I think y'all have seen I've done the work. I do the homework, I read it, and I have no idea what this is. Like, I don't understand what this is by this presentation, and I hope tonight after reading the material I would understand what it is. But it seems, is this something similar to where we partner with an outside entity? That's Quality Schools, or is that another name? It's not? Okay.
Ms. Sims?
Yeah, it's another name. So, but again, I'm just letting you know, like, I appreciate your input, and I feel like I know a lot of the catchphrases, but I don't know what this is really for. Is it mainly just what was presented, the extension of being able to start school earlier, not have necessarily certified teachers be able to teach, and then being more transparent or have some flexibility like charter schools? But is that pretty close?
Yes, let me answer a little bit of that.
Could you first tell me, back when this all started, what year was that? It's been a good bit.
So Abilene ISD has had a District of Innovation plan since, Dr. Wald, 2019.
So there's been plenty of time of this in
Correct. This, I believe, we've amended our plan once before, and so this is kind of a full looking at everything and renewal. There are things we're required to take out of it because legislation has required it. For example, currently our District of Innovation Plan allows us to have non-certified teachers in any subject with some rules about when they have to get certified. Legislation has changed that. Moving forward, after this year, we can't have non-certified teachers in core subjects, which would be English language arts and reading, science, social studies, and math. So we've got to take that out of our plan.
Absolutely.
One of the things that we've used District of Innovation for is several years ago, we left TRS Active Care Insurance. It allowed us to be a little bit more free in what insurance plan we chose for our district. So that's an example of some of the things that District of Innovation does. There is currently a District of Innovation plan listed on our public website. You can pull it up and you can read what's in there now.
Absolutely.
But there will definitely be things that we're changing in that plan. Just looking at a for example of something that we might look at. We, in order to get a waiver, every time a class goes over 22, I get on a website, I put in a waiver, I get it approved, it gets approved. Dr. Kuhn has to approve it. We can put in our District of Innovation plan that we don't have to do that anymore. We can just go up to 24 without asking for the waiver, which is, it makes things a little bit easier for us, and also it's really tricky to monitor those class sizes. I had one today that a principal texted me that said, oh, I just enrolled number 23 in a class, and so it's pretty constant that we're having to go in there and update that. So that's just an example of some things that we're going to look at updating and changing in our District of Innovation plan.
It's mainly doing with operations and manipulation of deadlines and those type of things.
It doesn't allow us out of curriculum. Nope, doesn't allow us out of curriculum. Doesn't allow us out of any legal requirements in special programs.
And it's apparently widespread accepted, so we're just taking advantage of what's available.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
So once we declared a resolution.
Your mic.
It's on.
Yeah.
Once we've declared a resolution, is that permanent, or why are we doing? Is this an update to our previous resolution?
Good question.
Where are we then? Because it sounds like to me we are a District of Innovation.
We are a District of Innovation.
So why are we declaring a new resolution?
We are reopening the plan. We're allowing for that to be everything to be re-looked at. That's why the updated resolution. And the benefit to just completely starting over is that once a District of Innovation plan is approved, it's good for 5 years. And so if we're going to take the trouble to amend it, we were close. I think we were at like 2027 that we needed to renew anyway. So we might as well just go for the whole thing now instead of having to come back in 2 years and saying, hey, we're starting over again.
So basically it's still an update to the resolution.
Yeah, it really is still an update, yes.
But we're good for 5 more years this way.
Yes.
Okay.
Should you approve it in January. This just starts the process. That it will be in your hands to approve or disapprove when we get to that point.
Very good. Is there anyone else in the present that would like to ask a question or a clarification? This is your turn.
Well, one clarification, just for the public. Even though that resolution's in place, y'all have been very good about bringing that before the board and before the community each time we do challenge one of those issues. So I appreciate that.
Sure.
Yes. Okay. Well, if no one is, if we are satisfying everybody's interest, then we will, let me see what I need to say. Oh, okay, here I am.
Right, the resolution.
Hearing none, we're going to close the public hearing, and the time is 7:12. Thank you, Allison. At this time, let's move to item 8, reports. Item 8A is Taylor County Appraisal District. Mr. Gary Ernest, Chief Appraiser of Taylor County Appraisal District, is joining us tonight. We thank you so much for being here. As always.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. So now we enter into exciting world of property tax. I'll make this short. It'll be a quick review because I don't want to belabor the point of property tax. This is a little bit of a history of what we were established in 1980, became a centralized appraisal district across the state of Texas based on the legislature and their action to create CADs. You have currently on our board serving as one director is John Stearns. He is a previous or past AISD board president, and he's owner of Quail Well Service, Inc. Here in town. If you'll remember, in the past, you've had 2 members on the board, but because we continue to go through compression of M&Os, and that drops some of your levy, and so the county has reestablished a seat. So now the county has 2 seats, and AISD continues to hold on to 1. Here, based on new legislation that was passed last year, 2 years ago, actually is the appointment schedule. And you'll not have another appointment until 2027. So the same member will serve. This year, the county and that large member are up for a reappointment, and then they'll start a rotation of 4-year term limits after that period. As well as the elected officials, 3 new elected officials will go on the ballot next November and will be elected also for alternating terms as well. The organization structure, the board of directors is based on the votes. So your votes come from 22%, roughly 22.43% of the levy, which entitles you to 1,116 votes as of this publication of this slideshow. Overall value, certified values, if you'll notice in the top where it states 2025 Taylor Jones certified totals, that's 100,000. We had to release 2 separate totals to the AISD based on the Senate bill law that will go into effect if it's passed in November election of this year. If you'll notice the tan highlighted number of 7.1 billion, and compared to the bottom right, 2024 certified net total value, which is 6.2 billion. When I move it to 140,000, which is what the citizens of Taylor County will vote on, that is 6.5 billion versus the same 6.2. So a loss of $612 million. Now, I understand as you go through the recapture phase that hopefully some of that will be reimbursed, as well as some of the INS, but you'll still have to go through the measure of TEA in order to get that recoup value paid back to you. Before I move from the value slides, are there any questions about the values or the rate of change or the growth? Okay. This is a project which everyone talks about currently in Taylor County, and that is the Lancium project. This year was the first year for Taylor CAD to appraise the property, and it was even at a % complete without personal property installed in any of the buildings. This is some of the original footprint that will house the servers. Here's what we took into consideration prior to January 1, which are 2 buildings. 2 buildings both have 4 wings each. Each wing is approximately 125,000 square feet. So each building wing is about the size of a Sam's Club. And if they build out to the total projection on the pro forma, there'll be 32 Sam's Clubs out housing some of the software or hardware as well. It is a direct-to-chip liquid cooled data center. Lancium Technology owns the land. Caruso is building the structures, and Oracle Corporation, you may have heard of them, they actually have the lease in which they protest values or support values moving forward. They have a workload scale across the lease rate is 1.2 gigawatts of power capacity, and that would power approximately over 1 million households for 1 year. That's an idea of how much power These consume large amounts of power. This is on a 3 redundancy system, which means that they have a grid contract with AEP, ERCOT specifically, in which they gather direct energy, as well as they have turbine-fired energy and also a battery bank. So they want to invest to a point that they understand it's going to be seamless. When we get on the computer and we want to bring up ChatGPT, we want it to work now. And we want it to have instant answers for us now. This is simply just a research and development center. So the size of this helps replicate somewhat of a demand that the global response would be whenever they go through next generation of products, ChatGPT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it helps it push this back out on to the market every time they unfold those new projects. As far as valuation for this past year, between the 2 buildings at a combined percent completed, just 41% complete, as well as land values, a total real property assessment value of $196 million. And then the MEP, the mechanical, electrical, and the plumbing, those are separate items held as personal property. We separate those from the real estate, and a 10-year depreciation first year on those MEP installations is value of $222 million and change. The total assessed value for 2025 is $418 million. That's 684,274. That was what was certified as of 2025. This is 2 buildings at 41% complete. We have a meeting set with Oracle in December, in which they will want to visit with us about the personal property, the server racks, everything that's going in each buildings or each wing of the building moving forward. Oracle has the same right as any taxpayer. They have the right to protest value. So they're very good at protesting value. They have a lot of resources, as well as they understand that the long-term effects on community involvement, they want to continue to add back to the community as well. So there's a delicate balance on protesting those values and still being a community property. And they understand that as they move forward. Are there any questions on the Lancium breakdown or calculations? Here is a return on the collections report. This is a 5-year aggregate report, and this is an excess of levy. So on the far left-hand side where it is adjusted levy, those are the adjusted amounts which basically AISD Finance Department had calculated estimate based on a rate. You move across from the left to right, and it gives you the collection, the penalty, the interest, as well as an aggregate total collection amount. So over the last 5 years, we've returned in excess of the original levy $2.2 million back to AISD. And that is because of the aggregate penalties and interest and anything that's cheated back from the court that we've moved through for seizures, any of that. That's the total amount. Here are the district transparencies, annual agreed upon procedures. We audit the collection aspect as well as the real. This is the annual physical audit. We do those every February, as well as the comptroller has a property value study in odd years. In October, there will be a team from the comptroller's office that will take up shop in CAD for about a week to 2 weeks, and they do test and measures against all of our values. And we have to be between 95 and 105% of market value on every stratum or any value or category of property that they want to test. If we fail the property value study, then that puts the school district in what is called a grace period. And the grace period 1 year means that you're tested the following year. If you fail that and you go through 2 different grace period failures, then it starts costing AISD money. They start withholding the matching funds. Even in this day and age of compression of M&O, which they continue to do, if we fail that, they are under the assumption that we're withholding more market value within Taylor County than we're actually accounting for. So that's their way of balancing that TEA exchange rate are compensating back to the school. We continue through the 3-year property value audit adjustments. I file that for AISD. I do that every 3 years, and that is to recoup any adjustments for homesteads or ag production that was placed in effect after the certification of that year. It's returned back to AISD in form of a credit. Annual report of appraisal is released every December. Mass appraisal report is released every June that describes all the activities of the appraisal district and also the operation when it comes to evaluation as well as collection. There is an annual publication of exemption, appeal, and budget. All those are held not only for public inspection in our office, but also are published in quarter-page ads within the newspaper every single year. We hope that we're more than a tax office. We hope that we're a source of education, information for the community, whether it is developing support through maps or projects. We work on a lot of those throughout the year because we understand that we want to try to be a community partner as well. I know that we're not always viewed as that, but hopefully people give us a chance to show them that we're there to answer questions, to help them understand why we have valued property the way we have valued them, and give us the opportunity to provide that proof of process.
The value of Lancium now is what percentage finished? Less than, I mean, in a ballpark figure, we could take that and multiply it ourselves out for when it's finished.
No,
I
ma'am.
mean,
No, ma'am.
no?
Currently, we'll value everything. The benchmark date is January 1. So we'll know on January 1 whether both the buildings are complete as well as the 8 wings, and whether or not they were stacked with servers as well as video chips and all those other things that create value. So we'll know more in December when we talk to Oracle, as well as we have it set that we do on-site inspections every January after January 1. That way we can document what's there and the change and moving forward. Even though they may have released, they being Lancium and our Oracle, as far as a pro forma that's in the billions, we'll have to test some of that. They'll go through an appeals process in which Oracle will more than likely cite that some of their proprietary information, what they call their special sauce or their GUI, these are actual words they use. That's when they'll defend whether or not proprietary information creates an obsolescence moving forward for any type of a discount. So we'll work through all that analysis, and we'll have those every July we certify. And Oracle understands that. I think that's why they're working with us starting in December, knowing that we won't even release statements until May for value. So they're trying to get out ahead of this so it doesn't put the entities in a bind and put us in a bind trying to capture those values per year.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So
Gary, as always, we appreciate
Yes.
the information. Thank you so much for your thoroughness.
All right.
Thank you for working and educating as you go.
Thank you.
Now let's move to item 8B, academic performance reports. We have coming to join us Ms. Carrie Thornburg, Executive Director for Elementary Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Mandy Joyner, Elementary English Language Arts Coordinator, and Ms. Kelly Grigsby, Elementary Math Coordinator. Welcome. Welcome
Good
back,
evening.
I could say.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Good evening. So thanks for having us for Act 2. We spent quite a bit of time Thursday evening talking through some background information for our district map test. So I'm going to just show you some district-wide data that is, I guess, a summary of grade levels tonight. And then we also want to present to you, Mandy and Kelly are going to present some information about another two assessments that we do called M-Class at the younger grade levels. This is all part of our goal progress measures report. So the board has academic board goals, and the two that we're reporting on tonight have to do with the early literacy and the early math board goal. These are set as far as how our third grade students are performing on the STAR tests in reading and in math. But in order to try to track progress and predict that, we look at our kindergarten students on up, and we do that through some of these ongoing common assessments. Okay, so hopefully this chart looks familiar to you now, and we kind of understand what the color bands are. So starting with the group of reading in our MAP assessment, our beginning of year, we just finished those assessments towards the end of September. So you can see that from kindergarten through 8th grade, we had 9,121 students that did the reading assessment. And that's how our district overall scoring went. So percentile-wise, if you're looking at, remember, the yellow is performing at grade level or above. So yellow, green, and blue. You can see that we're well over 50% of our kids at the beginning of the year already working at grade level. And so I broke that down a little bit more for us, looking at each grade, still in reading. So if you're looking at each of those grade levels, you can see looking at the yellow band, the green band, and the blue band, still we're at least 50% or more working at grade level or above. And this, remember, is compared nationally to the national norms. And then I also added on there, because we had quite a good discussion the other night about what an individual student achievement score is, and that's that RIT score. So you can see there, like for example, kindergarten, we had 949 students take the reading map. Out of all of those students, the average RIT score, the average individual student achievement score, ended up being 137. And if you look at the chart of the nationally normed band of scores that are pretty much on grade level nationally, we're right there. We're within 1 point of where nationally our kindergartners are performing. Does that make sense? Maybe makes more sense since last Thursday, maybe, hopefully. Okay, so I'll just move on then. I also just included the older grade levels just so that you could have that for reference as well. So if you just kind of glance through that, you can still see we're well above 50% working at grade level already. And then you can compare that to the national normed RIT scores. So we're right there, just below in a few grade levels of what is average on grade level nationally.
But this is beginning of the year.
This is
so
beginning
it's somewhat
of the year.
Diagnostic to
Exactly.
know what to do to get more into the
Exactly.
middle and top range.
So we use these beginning of year assessment scores, whether it's MAP or whether it's M-Class, to really let the teachers know where to target and where to work, so that at our mid-year and end of year tests we can assess progress, assess how we're doing along the way. Okay, so I think I'm headed on to math. So same thing again, 9,210 students taking the math assessment out of kindergarten through 8th grade. Here's our K through 3 grade level summaries. So you can see again the average RIT for our students compared to the national average RIT scores. And then where our bands lie, still working really well above 50% or higher already on grade level.
And these national numbers, they don't take into account like economic disadvantage status, anything. It's just comparing us to everybody.
Yeah, it's
All
just
right.
a straight achievement score. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it could be the kids, that are living in Louisiana, or the kids that are living in New York, kids that are living in Abilene, Texas. Here are the older grades, just for some reporting information for you. So this type of information also gives our middle schools information on which grade levels to dig into a little bit more in subject areas. And then, as we talked about Thursday night, what we really do at this point of the year with this information is the teachers take this and use it through PLCs to try to decide what we're going to change or plan with our instruction, and really how to individualize some of that intervention and small group work to differentiate what our students are needing and what they're already getting and ready for next, including our GT students. And then also, with our parent conferences that have been occurring in elementary school, sharing that information and really trying to explain it to parents, and even at middle school, sending those reports home and having some good conversation about that. Any questions about MAP tests before I move on? That means I did such a great job on Thursday.
It was very good on Thursday.
I think I set us up well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so then I'm going to turn it over to Kelly Grigsby and Mandy. I think Mandy Joyner's first with M-Class reading. So they'll explain a little bit about what that test is and who takes it. We do reading. We've done that for a couple of years, and then we've just added math this year, so it's more of a try to figure it out diagnostically for us. Okay.
Good evening. All right, so we're going to talk about M-Class reading. So this is our 5th year to participate in M-Class reading. The state of Texas requires schools to have a beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year reading screening and benchmark assessments. And they have a list of assessments you can choose from, and M-Class is one of those choices. So that's what we do in Abilene ISD. All students in kinder, first, and second grade take M-Class reading, and then we bought additional licenses for students in third, fourth, and fifth if they're part of RTI, so additional data for those students. This assessment looks at foundational reading skills, so your very basic reading skills, and it is, everything on M-Class is timed. Almost all the assessments are just 1 minute, so they're just really looking for fluency with these foundational skills. So we look at letter naming, phonemic awareness, letter sounds, decoding, reading accuracy, fluency, and basic comprehension. And Thursday night we talked about MAP is adaptive, so every kid is getting different set of questions. In class, every kid is getting the same assessment. And there's nationally normed goals for each of these skills. We also use it for progress monitoring, so students, if they perform in the well below area, the teacher can assess them on one particular skill every 2 weeks to monitor growth, and that data can be used for parent conferences, for RTI meetings. Diagnosticians have access to this data, so they use this as well if they're using or looking to see if a student has a disability. And then just like MAP, we have a Home Connect report that teachers go over with parents during parent conferences, and we send those home 3 times a year. So let's look at some data. So here is our beginning of year data. On MAP, we have 5 colored categories. MClass, we only have 4. So the red is the well below, yellow is below, green is at benchmark, and blue is above benchmark. And you'll see on here 2025 beginning of year, and then I also included the end of last school year because we see regression over the summer. We do take this test starting in the 3rd week of school, so it's the very beginning of school year, so kids are kind of out of the routine of having to go really quickly on these 1-minute assessments. So each year we've seen a drop in the scores over the summer, but as you can see, we make gains throughout the year, so you'll see a lot of growth, hopefully middle of year and end of year.
So this is the same kids or?
No, so it's different. I'm glad you clarified that. So this is different set of kids. So this kinder end of year, those are now the beginning of year first graders. Mm-hmm. And the campuses and teachers can run reports to see exactly who was in red and who stayed in the red, who was in the red or maybe yellow and went back in red. There's some great data you can see there. And the way that MClass works, the kids take 4 or 5 separate tests and then they give them a combined composite score. So this data is looking at their composite score.
But they're also being tested on the new grade level, which
Correct.
They haven't
Yes,
done
correct.
yet.
There's new skills and there's new goals. So the end of year goal might be different than the beginning of year, and it's different.
But the material
skills.
is grade they haven't been through yet, so the expectations
Correct.
are for they would
Yes.
learn it in that
Yes,
year
correct.
to come. Okay.
Some of those skills do carry over, so some of those skills will still see some great data, but some of them they are new to. So then this is a report that the teacher would see. Last Thursday, we kind of showed you some map reports. This would be what a teacher would see on M-Class. I skipped one. Whoops. Sorry. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Why? Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. You're good.
That's okay. I wouldn't want to be
Promise
up
is
there.
not my first time. Roman's there. Okay, there we go. Okay. So this is the view that the teacher would see when they first pull up their data. So this is our beginning of year data. This was from a first grade class. And you can see the composite score, where the students fill, and then in each assessment, you can also see how many kids are in each category. And then down on that same report, the student's name are on the left, and they can see exactly what their composite score was, how they performed in every single assessment. You can sort this data, so the teacher could sort it and see all the kids who need letter naming practice or all the kids who need nonsense word practice. And then they can go even further. They can click on one of the student's assessments and this page pops up. Then I can see exactly what this student made errors in and what they did correctly. So then they can see, okay, they need work on the letter P and the letter B. So there's really lots of in-depth data that the teacher can find. They can also pull up a second grader, and as long as they've been in Abilene ISD, they can look up their first grade and kindergarten data as well. So there's lots of really great data that teachers can pull from this. So is there any questions on M-Class reading? Okay, Kelly's going to talk about math.
I know which button to push, so make
Just
sure I
push
don't go the
that
wrong way.
Yeah.
Careful.
Okay, so this year we rolled out M-Class Math for K through 2 in the district. This is a brand new launch for Amplify, the company. It launched in August. They're still rolling out the platform across the country at this point. It is a standardized test, just like M-Class Reading. The only difference is that M-Class Math is done on a Chromebook or an iPad individually, where M-Class Reading is done one-on-one with a teacher. So a little bit different from that. As I said, we are piloting it this year because it is a brand new platform in K through 2 at all elementary campuses. It's going to be given, it was given beginning of year the same time that reading was. We will give it middle of year and we will give it end of year. It has progress monitoring, and one of the reasons that we felt we wanted to pilot it is because across the district we needed a progress monitoring system for MTSS, for RTI, that everyone was using the same thing, so that when our students do go for testing or anything like that, that we're all using the same data component.
What's RTI?
Rights to intervention. So students that are struggling that may have a learning disability, or there's a process for that, and we have stages of it, and this helps collect data. So if we have students that move from campus to campus so fluidly that if they go to one campus and they move to another, they're still using the same progress monitoring tool. So it tests all the components that math would: algebraic thinking, counting, geometry, measurement, and data. We do have progress monitoring every 2 weeks for any students that are showing a need, so if they're below benchmark. And we also offer the Home Connect report to families also. So this is our beginning of year. Like I said, we rolled this out in September. It was a brand new platform. Our teachers were trained on it at the end of August. So this is our grades K1, 2, and we actually have 4. We are piloting Amplify's math curriculum at Alcorta this year in 4th grade. So they actually got to take the M-Class also, so we had some of that data. This is a more of a breakdown for a teacher. So this actually will show their class, and it will show it by TEAC. So it tells them the learning standards that were assessed in that test. So this is one of the reports that they can see, just a basic benchmark performance and the TEACs, the learning standards that are attached to it. Then it goes even further like Mandy's did, and it takes it by each individual student, and they can see it by category and sort it by who is benchmark, who is well below, who's going to need the help. Okay. This is an even more specific one because it is done online and not one-on-one. They can actually pull up each student's individualized test, and it tells them whether they got it wrong or right. And at the top, they can click on the item, and by student, they can even see what that student answered. So we might have a student that it's asking them to add 4 plus 3, and they might have written the actual numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and counted them out. So you can still see that they got the answer correctly, they just did it by counting out the numbers rather than just placing the number 7. Okay. And then this is the last report I'm going to show you that goes even further. It actually breaks the students down by the learning standard and groups them. And then if you see on the right, it gives a recommendation on how to pull for small group to remediate for that TEAC, and it actually gives them a lesson to use for that. So it's a great component because, as we know, our teachers already have a lot of work to do, and it already gives an activity for the teacher to use in small group without them having to create something for themselves or go find something. So it saves a little time. So that's what I have for you. Do you have any questions? No? Okay. Well, I'm excited.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment that I'm thankful for this information. We talk about a lot of stuff in these meetings, but this is really what we're here for, is our kids' academic performance. And I've only been at this a little over a year, but I do feel like we're using more of our time in these meetings to talk about this, set very specific goals, look at data, and we're being very transparent with the public. We're presenting this at these meetings, so the public, it's out there. So you can say, yeah, we're meeting our goals or we're not, and it holds us all accountable. And so I'm thankful for all the hard work you guys are doing. I know it takes a lot of time to present this to us and get it ready. And so I do feel like we're moving in a positive direction. I think that's because we are setting goals, we have the data, we're looking at it regularly. And so the whole curriculum and instruction team, I think you're doing a really great job, and I'm excited about the direction y'all are taking us. So thank you.
You can't tell Mandy and I like to talk about this kind of stuff. So.
I just
nerd out.
Kind of, why do we need both of them? If they're both middle, beginning, ending, and year, or middle and end, or do they, you know what I mean? Why do we do both tests?
Reading and math?
No, math and
because this is more standardized. It doesn't change according to how they answer. So this is across the board. We can see like true data of their ability. We're not adjusting the questions based on the way they answer.
So they're both useful in the classroom.
Absolutely.
Yes. I'd like to add something to that as well. When I mentioned the M-Class reading, we are required to pick a test from a list of approved assessments, and MAP is not one of those assessments.
That's what I was going to add too. So
yeah.
And we've just seen over these years, and like we talked about on Thursday, each year that we've been using MAP, the teachers are finding ways to use it in better ways to affect instruction and to predict progress and predict success. And so M-Class reading and math just doesn't give us the same comprehensive information that so I know, it's one more test, but.
Well, and I thought MAP seems very useful for parents.
It does. Yeah, I think so.
For our new teachers coming on, how are we prepping them? Are we pairing them with a staff member with experience? How are we doing that for our new teachers coming on?
Yeah, so we have in place teacher mentors that the campus principals pair up a veteran teacher that has some training and experience with working with brand new teachers for not just figuring out how to do assessments with kids or how to work the report card system. Also just how to live life on a campus and to be their person. So we have that in place, but then our department also participates in back to school professional developments. Manny and Kelly go to elementary campuses, and so do the secondary coordinators, and meet with teachers in small groups and in large groups before events like the testing and assessment things come up, so that everybody gets a refresher or new teachers understand what the expectations are and how to get the help. And so we try to front load those things, but then always on the ready too. These two ladies also jump into classrooms of new teachers to help give assessments when they need to, because it's time intensive.
Yeah, one-on-one, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All right, anything else?
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Let's move to item 8C, Bilingual ESL. We'll welcome Ms. Shannon Marshall, Director of Federal Programs in ESL Bilingual. Hello, Ms. Marshall.
Hello. Thank you for having me up here. I feel a little more comfortable than last time. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about our program that we have. The purpose of the ESL Bilingual program is to target English language development, including listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills through academic content instruction. We're also very culturally responsive in that. A little bit about our staff. So we have Erica Soto. Erica does all of the coding of students. She runs LPACs. She will get folders ready, goes on campus, meets students, and does all the testing for any ESL student that comes into the program. So you test and you see whether they qualify for the program or not and where their levels are. Sonia Castillo, she is a bilingual specialist. She will do Spanish interpretation also, and she helps Erica with filing, testing. She can test also. We have 2 ESL ICs, Charlotte Faircloth and Trish Pacheco, and they're elementary and secondary. They do a lot of the same things as Mandy and Kelly. They'll go, they coach staff. They go to PLCs. They've been doing a lot of PLCs recently and talking about the ELPs. Of course, I have my secretary that works with all of us. And then the next ones listed are all of our Swahili or French or Kinyarwanda speaking interpreters for the district that we have. And we have 8 now. We just hired 2 in the last week that replaced 2 that had left us. Those interpreters work on all of our campuses at this time. So we're training the 2, but the others are assigned one major campus based on the number of students and then rotate around to other campuses. So they may spend 3 days on one campus, 2 days on another, and then they're called for meetings for ARD meetings, for special ed meetings, 504s, any LPACs, or any parent meeting that we have to have. They make phone calls. A lot of times the principals will contact our office, say they need somebody to just call a parent and say there's one sick, and so they'll do that from the campus that they're on. We have 31 languages represented at AISD right now. The 2 largest would be Spanish and Swahili. So, our enrollment is continuing to move up in the ESL program. If you'll look, last year we were at 1,258. We are currently at 1,328. As of the date this slideshow was done, I think we got 3 more today. So.
That's a small district. That's a small school district.
Yes, small school district. So here are emergent bilinguals, or ELLs. on AISD campuses, and you can see if it is highlighted in blue, it is an increase from last year. So I'll let you look at that slide. That is our high school and middle schools. And then here are our elementaries. Most of them went up, but you have to remember also that we moved Ortiz and Thomas, which had the majority of the EB students across the district, which made those other campuses go up. Newcomers moved to home campus or their choice in that area, so that's why they kind of spread out everywhere. And then Martinez shot up for bilingual.
Ms. Marshall?
Yes, ma'am.
That is quite a jump at Long.
It is quite a jump at Long. Now, one of the programs last year was at Ortiz, and so one of the they had a bilingual pre-K that was located at Ortiz, and so it's moved over there also.
Okay.
So we have 3 different programs through our department. One is the dual language program. That's the bilingual program. The students from one language group, which is Spanish, they learn in 2 languages. So the goal of that program is to become biliterate and bilingual and be by 5th grade, basically, kindergarten through 5th grade. And that they can do that and actually think the concepts through in their native language into English and write accordingly also. We have the program at Long. The K through 5th grade program is at Martinez, and the instruction alternates between Spanish and English. So we have a language allocation that tells the amount of time that they'll do each language, and it gets less Spanish as you move on to 5th grade and more English. And then they end up having a 50-50 split by the end. We use Summit K-12 participation at least twice a week for all of our ESL students. And I think you'll see in the next few slides how much growth we had on our TELPAS testing because of Summit K-12 participation. The newcomer program, this program serves our 1st and 2nd year EB students. Elementary, they're now served on their home campuses. These are the newcomer students that were at Thomas before. Secondary programs, they're served Clack, Craig, Abilene High, and Cooper. Students are assigned to do a general education classroom, and they receive ESL instruction in the classroom. They can receive support approximately 2 hours a day if the program, sometimes they'll get pulled out for certain programs. And then Summit K-12 is also used for these students. And then we have the ESL program. This program serves our EBs at all levels who are not involved in dual language or newcomer. All AISD campuses, students are taught by certified ESL teachers if available. Students participate in Summit K-12 instruction at least 2 times per week. Okay, our ESL bilingual certification, if they are not certified in ESL or bilingual and teaching one of those classrooms, so if they're a reading teacher and do not have an ESL certification, we have to get a waiver for them. And the same way if they're a bilingual, teaching bilingual, they also have to have what you call a bilingual exception. So we have to submit a plan for each individual teacher this year that states where they are in a program, what they're doing to get certified, provide professional development plan for each of them to get that exception or waiver.
We're talking about A certified teacher or just certified ESL?
Certified ESL or certified bilingual,
Okay.
if they're teaching bilingual classroom. So it's the supplemental to
Okay.
their certification. So currently, we have 31 teachers that need the ESL waiver and 7 teachers that need a bilingual exception. The goal is to reduce by 25% annually on that. I can tell you on the ESL waivers, a lot of them got them last year. They took their tests, they passed. But then when we spread everybody out again, there are some teachers that are not ESL certified on every campus. And so we're working on that right now. Principals did a great job at trying to put kids in the classrooms with ESL certified. It just got to be where the number of students, if you have a heavy class, a grade level, it affects that, and you can't split them up enough. So for academic progress, so reclassification or exit from a bilingual program, you have to do the following. A passing score on STAR, reading, or English EOC, no language supports on a state assessment, which they do get accommodations throughout based on their LPAC meeting. They can get accommodations on testing. TELPAS must be advanced high, which is the highest score in each domain: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And most of the time what you'll see is that they either do really well in the reading and writing or really well in the listening and speaking. So subjective teacher evaluation and parent approval to exit. So they have to have all of those things to reclassify. This is our academic progress. So our graduation of EB students last year, 27 from Abilene High, 14 from Cooper. And then reclassification, we had a significant jump up to we had 65 students last year.
What does reclassification mean again?
That is, we can go back here. They had to do all of these things: pass the STAR or EOC, no language supports on those assessments, and they had to score advanced high.
So what we used to call exit.
Mm-hmm, yes, okay. It is the same thing. This is where they scored on their TELPAS composite rating. We had 96 with that 8%, which was 8% in the advanced high, which was up from 76. Just because, remember, just because they score that advanced high does not mean they exit the program. Some of them may still have had language supports in place or not passed the STAR, gotten close but not passed. I do feel like, just from seeing what I've seen in the past on Summit K-12, I feel like that has made a huge difference, because on Summit K-12, you're practicing your speaking. You answer a question and you practice and it records you and they can hear themselves speak. And it's also just the test format. So. Our future plans, develop a stronger plan to increase the number of bilingual and ESL certified teachers in the district, professional development for all staff that teaches an ESL student, continual growth in the dual language program, build family engagement across the district. I think this is a big part. If we get families to buy in with us and understand the program, it matters a lot. Continue to provide resources and supports to administrators and teachers, and we'll do that through giving them access to programs, PD, and all of those things that they're asking for. I just did a survey recently on things that they wanted to learn more about and what they felt like they needed, and it was very eye-opening, so we're getting those planned right now. And we're back. So, any questions?
So we have 31 languages represented in our district. The STAR is offered in English and Spanish only. Is that correct?
It is only offered in Spanish up to fifth grade.
Fifth grade.
And so the rest are in English, yes.
So almost 10% of our students, English is not their primary language, yet they're being required to take a lot of these standardized tests in a
Yes.
language that's not their primary language. I personally can't imagine taking a standardized test in any other language than English. So I think that's, a lot to ask of these
It is.
students. And so when I think of like our academic scores, this is just another challenge our district has that I don't think a lot of the other surrounding districts probably have 10% of their students in this population would be my assumption. So I think this is just a good reminder to me that the makeup of your students makes a difference when we look at these scores. It doesn't excuse us from continuing to work really hard, but
Right.
these students have a unique challenges.
Right, and then newcomers, they do not take it their first year. So if they come in with no language whatsoever, newcomer programs, I'm talking most of our African students from Africa, they do not take the first year, but they are required to test the second year. And most of them come in with no language and no formal education at all.
And if they come in April of the first year, that counts as year one.
That counts as
So
year
they don't
one,
necessarily
yes.
get a full 1 year
Right.
before they have to start testing.
Mhm. So, any other questions?
Thank you for this information.
Thank you.
Let's move to item 8D, Intruder Detection Audit Findings. Dr. Joe Waldron, Deputy Superintendent.
Thank you, Ms. President, Dr. Kuhn, members of the board. Appreciate the opportunity to stand in front of you today and talk about our intruder detection audit process. Today, we are here to meet one piece of the process that is a result of monthly checks of our campuses for the intruder detection audit process. That process is guided by the Texas Education Code, Chapter 37, Section 1083. The intruder detection audit process happens at every single one of our educational facilities during the course of the year. A few are chosen each month until we get through the entire school year and every single campus has gone through the process. It is conducted in conjunction with our service center. They employ intruder detection auditors who visit our campuses and conduct the audit process. Generally during this, I've had to do this in front of you before, and I've been pretty surgical with the process. I'm going to elaborate on a few things tonight. Please indulge me for a little bit of clarity and understanding about this process. So tonight, this is one of the pieces of corrective action that the school district will have to do as a result of a finding at a campus. So I can only provide a limited explanation. I'll explain more of that in my remarks. But the intruder detection auditors employed by Region 14 Service Center recently conducted audits at one or more of our campuses in compliance with the Texas Education Code. The audit process tests our campuses and whether they are accessible from an unauthorized individual. The audit seeks to help the districts identify campuses that can improve their safety for the students and staff and to ensure exterior doors remain locked and latched and secured. Campus records are examined during the audit process. Campuses are required to keep weekly exterior door sweeps, which are conducted by our campus safety teams. Those are reviewed and checked to make sure that they're in compliant, being done every single week. More on that in a second. The audits and any related findings provide the district an opportunity to create safer learning environments for our students and staff. So in September, intruder detection audits were conducted at several of our campuses, and findings were found at one or more campuses and were appropriately addressed the day of the audit through the execution of corrective action, which I'll talk more about in just a second. Specific details around the intruder detection audit findings are presented in closed session with the board and during the campus or during the district school safety committee meeting. We have worked with the campus administration and their school safety security committees to ensure all staff receive required training. That's one of the pieces of corrective action, that the staff is trained. And that we continue to secure doors for the protection of everyone on our campus. It's reasonable to expect that people sitting in this audience and maybe listening to me might want particular details or maybe interested in reviewing any of the intruder detection audit findings. However, the Texas Education Agency and the Attorney General's opinions direct school districts to refrain from sharing any specifics, although I will get to some vague things. And I hope the public can appreciate that, because we do not want to compromise the safety and security standards and safeguards that we hold dear every day in our school district. So with that, there it goes. The findings this time include equipment failures. Those equipment failures were not known ahead of time. They were not reported ahead of time. They were handled the day of the audit. The specifics of the equipment failures I can't share publicly, but I can tell you that swift action was taken. The equipment that failed was replaced the same day. And then I want to take a second and talk about this communication plan and the 5 standards. I think this is important to note what Abilene ISD does every single day, and why when you see the word equipment failure, you may be wondering what broke. How long did we know it was broke? Why didn't we know it was broke? So Abilene ISD in the summer of 2023 developed, in collaboration with all of our campus leaders, a 5-step action plan that is still in effect today. It happens every day. I see it happen every day. If you're on our campuses, you'll see it happen every day. We have all of our staff, when they exit doors or approach an exterior door, they push on it before they open it and pull on it after it closes on its own. We call that a push and pull campaign. We have students who do this. We don't require them to do it, but that's a part of everyday life. Our campus administrators report to their campus teams every week, or at a maximum every 2 weeks, the status of their campus's safety plan. That reports on things like the weekly door sweeps, where we're required to check the doors once a week. Our campuses check them more than that. I've been at multiple elementary campuses and witnessed some of our student leadership teams walking around with a clipboard checking doors, because it's one of their duties. It's one of the things that is part of the leadership journey that some of our campuses put into our student experience. We have campuses that are twins of each other. For example, Austin and Taylor, those 2 principals collaborate on how safety is going at their campus, where their strengths are, how they do safety in pickup and drop-off, visitor check-in, things like that. We've committed to safety being a culture of everything that we do in our building. It comes up in all student-led activities where the students are an active part of it. So that was number 4. And then number 5 is, this is one of those things that I think all of our staff has noticed this year, more than any other year, is anytime you report to a campus, we're required to check in with our ID badge. So it used to be where you just walked into a campus and walked right in because your ID badge might have gotten you in. But now we all stop, everybody in maintenance, technology, admin, support like Kelly, Carrie Thornburg, the people who talked to you tonight, we all report to the office. And that's so that the campus knows we're there. We're properly identified, and it increases the safety on the campus. Those are the 5 things. Those happen every day. So doors that may not be working are reported. I'm going to give you a little bit of a nugget about that. If an exterior door is reported to not be working in whatever way, the wind's blowing too hard out of the south and this door's not shutting. That never happens here, right? So anything can impede a rock, a pebble, rust, wind, rain, heat, cold, all can change doors. So our facilities staff has a 5-step process in order to ensure that every single door that is reported to them is attended to immediately. I won't go into all those 5 steps, but it's an extensive process that involves multiple people knowing and communicating with each other to ensure those doors are corrected. That happened this day. These findings were both found on the same exact day and were attended to that same exact day. Take any questions or comments before I finish this up.
It just hurt your feelings because we weren't perfect. We couldn't do it all at once.
You betcha. It does.
It tends to make us cranky. But I will say that in the end, the purpose of this audit, they found 2 doors that weren't opening. We fixed them, and that's good.
That's right. Thank you, Madam President. That's exactly right. We take I hope it's clear tonight to you and to anybody listening that we take the safety and security of our students and staff very, very close, to keep it close to our heart. It's an important part of what we do. We have cameras everywhere. We have people who care and push on doors, and we have people who pay attention. I can tell you a personal experience in one of our middle schools, walking around without my badge. I happened to leave it in the car for whatever reason. That wasn't this year, it was in a previous year. And I didn't get 20 steps into the building before someone was like, "Who are you? Come back here with me to the office." Like, they just took me by the arm. Like, I'm the guy on stage at Convocation. Like, you guys should know me. Anyway, it was great. That's exactly what should happen. Thank you, Ms. Wiley. So we're dedicated to swift action when we know about it. We talk about it every time we get our executive team together. Thank you for your time. Take any other questions you might have.
Thank you, Dr. Walter.
Let's move to business items that require board action. Item 9A is School Library Advisory Council. Ms. Lindsay Williamson is here, our Executive Director for Secondary Curriculum and Instruction, and this item has been placed under her very capable leadership. Thank you, Lindsay.
Yes. Okay, good evening. So, as you all are aware, we went over the specifics of the School Library Advisory Council and the responsibilities and the purpose of the council at last Thursday's board workshop. So we are not going to go through all of that again, but as a reminder, these are the responsibilities of the SLAC that is made up of members that are appointed by you all. Those include helping determine materials that go in and out of our libraries, to assist with challenges, and to advise on policies and partnerships. Again, the SLAC members are the 7 voting members that are appointed by you that you will hopefully approve this evening. And the requirement for that is that they are, most of them, the majority of them are parents of students enrolled in our district and are not employees or employed by the district. There will also be some non-voting members that are optional, but I do think would add value to that process, and they can include the following roles. So at this time, you all should have a list of the voting members that you all submitted in your notebooks. Yes. Yes, thank you, Taylor. And we are going to ask you to approve that group. I have one extra one if anyone is having a hard time locating it. Open to any questions prior to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me see. So we'll have it. I can have it here, or they can have it.
As that's being looked at, I just want to touch base real quick on a couple of things. So obviously, we've heard a lot tonight, and I think it's concerning, and I understand, based upon what we've heard from a number of different people wanting to speak at the public hearing, if that's all the information you had, I guarantee you I would be concerned too. And I can tell you that with the information that I have, and as I've articulated at previous meetings, contrary to cute social media edits that don't tell the whole story, I am concerned. But I also know that just because there is a website that's, I'm not even going to cite it, mentions that there's all these books that are in our libraries. The research that we've done is, while there are potentially some, obviously, that we've heard from, we also know that there's a lot of misinformation about what is actually available in our libraries. And so that is part of what SB 13 is aimed at doing. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the concerns. I understand. I got kids in the schools. I don't want that in my household. I don't need it in my classrooms. But there is some significant context that needs to be provided for accuracy. One of the books, for example, I know that was mentioned tonight, that was brought up knowingly, was known that it was not in our libraries, but it was reported as such. So there is a good faith conversation, Dr. Kuhn, that you mentioned earlier, and I'm here for it. I think our Slack community members are here for it. So I just want to be able to put that out there on the record, but also note that of all the books that we're hearing about tonight, send me an email. If you know what these lists are, I think it's great. But instead of just coming to a meeting, challenge them. How many, question, Dr. Kuhn, how many challenges to books did we have last year?
Zero? Is that correct?
Zero.
That's my understanding. The challenges are in place.
Correct. So to that point,
I mean, the challenge opportunities are in place.
yes. And so I don't like anything that I heard tonight. As a parent, as a father, as a Christian, that's not what we're about. But we have to have a process. We have a process. It might not be as convenient as going to social media and firing off things for likes and clicks. That doesn't help our kids. So to that end, I think it's very important that we have this conversation in November and December, as you've alluded to. So again, I share the concerns. I hear it loud and clear. What I heard tonight was offensive. And as a parent, I'm fairly frustrated, but I also know there's more information. And I'm going to trust the good people of AISD to roll up our sleeves to find a solution to how we get across the finish line on this for the betterment of our kids.
It will be
I just want to piggyback off that real quick. Just in our policy, we have things in place for informal complaints can be made. I mean, our parents have the opportunity to bring their concerns to the district. 0 concerns were brought to the district last year. So I don't want the public to think we don't care what our kids are exposed to. We give the public the opportunity to bring that information to us. It has not been brought to us in the policies that have been lined out by the district that are available online for everyone to see.
Lindsay, can I ask you a couple questions? How many books are in a high school library?
Oh, thousands.
Are librarians expected to read every single book?
No.
So do inappropriate books ever slip in?
Yes, so I can speak to that a little bit. As we have looked into certain books that have been brought to our attention informally, I've gone to the resource that most schools likely go to. It's called Follett Tidal Wave, and that tool provides professional reviews on books, and we rely heavily on those. We can't expect our libraries are going to be able to read every single book, and it also gives age levels, and all the information is there. And occasionally, can there be some content in that book that doesn't show up in those reviews? Yes, it happens. I think you also have to think back to how long a lot of these books have been in our libraries. So one of them mentioned this evening has been in the Abilene High Library since 2007.
Which book is that?
That was the Boy Toy.
Okay.
Since 2007, long before our current librarian was the librarian there. And I think that is an example. So she likely doesn't know the content of that book. It's never been brought to her attention. She wasn't the one that purchased it. She wasn't the one that went through that process. And 2007 was a long time ago. So she shouldn't be expected to know that process. But I think that shows the value in the formal challenge process, is that's how it's brought to our attention and how we can officially remove it from our libraries. You're expected to have a process to remove books, and that does not include having a box at the corner of the library that those books are thrown in. We want them completely removed from our catalog, and it's not my sole responsibility or the librarian's responsibility to go make sure those are all pulled and put in a box in the corner. Our responsibility is to go through that review process and remove them permanently from our catalog.
So you've kind of described two different processes for removing inappropriate books, right? One is the challenge process where somebody checks out a book, they have a problem with it. And then the other was comparing books against whatever database you mentioned from Follett. How long does it take to complete the challenge form?
It has, so there's a new one that's put out by TA. It's a 1.5 page form. The first probably half of it is just identifying information about the person or the book. And then there's a box that people are required, it is required of the person that's putting in the challenge to do their part of pointing out specifically in that book what makes it inappropriate and why it should be removed. So there's a text box for that. And then the last part is instructions of who to submit it to, which is me.
This is a little speculative, but some of the things you heard tonight, if those books were challenged, do you think they would be removed?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me also ask you this. Were any of the books read from tonight unavailable on our shelves to our students?
Yes, yes. Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl was brought to our attention a couple of months ago through the first list that was given to you all at a board meeting, and I had a couple of our librarians review that list, and there were a handful of those books that we determined, again, it's not our sole decision to determine what's pulled off permanently. We determined to put those on hold, pull them from our shelves, pull them from access to students, and until we can take them to the Slack to be formally reviewed. So students don't have access.
So one of the books that was pulled was Me, Earl, and the Girl. That was read from tonight.
Yes.
Was that the first one? Was that like the worst one of all of them that we heard? Was that not Me, Earl, and the Girl? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
It was it. Do what?
I read it, and I said
Yeah.
it was going to the Slack. I did acknowledge that.
Okay, yeah. So, but that's not available to kids,
Correct.
right? It's been pulled
Correct.
while we're waiting for the Slack. Okay. So, hang on. Were there any other books that were read tonight that are not
No
actually?
other titles were given tonight.
Oh, no titles, so you don't
No,
know,
sir.
okay.
So I'm not sure which ones they are.
So, but did you hear any other texts that you think would, if a challenge were to be completed, they would probably be removed? Tell me how the Slack changes our challenge process. Does the existing challenge process stay in place plus the Slack, or does the Slack replace?
So with SB 13, a significant change is that whenever a book is challenged, it's actually, we're required to remove it from circulation
Until a judgment is made?
Yes, sir.
And
So
we've gone ahead and started doing that before
Yes.
we even have the Slack?
Yes.
Okay.
So if it's a formal challenge, we automatically pull it from being accessed to by.
And it won't go back on the shelf unless the Slack says, no, this book's okay?
Until there's action is taken.
Okay.
On that book.
Here's something else that I thought you told me, because I asked you, will the Slack have to go through and evaluate every single book that's already in the library? And you said no.
No.
But their job is to address every single challenge that comes from
Yes, ma'am.
this moment forward.
Yes.
So that is an excellent process. It's a group of people to manage this who have that ability to have that bent to do that type of work, to help make sure that is done so that we can take care of these inappropriate things that could possibly be in our library that we don't know about yet, that haven't already been set aside and taken off the shelves.
It takes a community to run an educational district, from parents to administrators to teachers to the community at large. And so one of the things I want to stress to the community is to work with us in good faith. I don't want to speak for everybody. I can't. I'm not prepared to. But we want to do right by our kids. And there's a community standard that I think we all can appreciate. And so our hope is, as parents, if there's things that are alarming to us, raise them to us. Let us know. As John said, there's thousands of books. So let's not assume the worst from our community partners. I don't think I can speak for a fact, nobody up here on this panel has ever knowingly misled me on anything. We might not always agree, but we're going to work together to figure it out. So when we work, sounds cheesy and cliche, when we work together and we model positive behavior to our kids, that's also a learning outcome. And so those are the things that I think the SLAC, and the reason we have one is because the school board voted to establish one. We're not resisting that. We are saying we want to make sure what's in our libraries reflects the community and our needs and our expectations. That's what we've created to try to do that. Our friends in Austin gave us an avenue to do it. So here we are. So my hope, and we can't control these things, my hope is that instead of vilifying the other side, trying to play gotcha, we do what's best for the kids, look at the material, and if you have a question, by all means, share it. I think a good example is when we learned that there was some stuff in there that was unflattering, go through the formal process, let us know what it is so we can resolve it. That's what we probably teach our kindergartners.
So Lindsay, on like the books that were read from tonight that are not clearly not appropriate, right? We kind of all agree on that, right? If the SLAC is going to be selected tonight, right? So it'll go into place. If any of these citizens who have a concern about any of these books, anybody that was in this room that heard it knows the name of the book, how would they fill out a challenge tomorrow? Would they use our existing challenge form? Is there a new form?
We have the new form. It's posted with in the policy online. It's posted there, the new one. So they complete it, send it back to me. I'm required within 5 days to send that documentation to our SLAC committee.
Okay.
And then our district is required to act on it within 90 days and vote on it, because now the SLAC, again, just as a reminder, they recommend to the board actions. So they would recommend to the board closest to that 90-day window to the next board meeting, how they recommend proceeding with those books.
So let's take the book Boy Toy that was mentioned tonight. If that is challenged tomorrow, all those timelines kick in, but what happens to the book in the meantime?
It's pulled.
It's pulled.
From circulation, including access to any online.
Until a determination is made by the SLAC?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to also determine, is it appropriate? I don't feel like it would be appropriate, and this is simply my opinion, that for these SLAC committee members to be contacted about a book that they're concerned about. They will not be responsible for anything that isn't brought to them through proper channels.
Correct, and I think that's important. The SLAC, the advisory committee that you're naming, they're volunteers, they're parents of our students. They shouldn't have to field that. We should field that and get it exactly to them appropriately. And I mean, anybody that's worked with me for very long knows that I'm very transparent and don't have anything to hide from them, and I'm excited to work with them in that capacity.
And the SLAC will review lists of all future purchased library books, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what about classroom libraries? Does that play into this process, or is that a separate process?
So the way that can play into it, once we have those inventoried, any classroom libraries that aren't in our current library catalog will be added to the SLAC list for approval. So it'll be like we're approving for it to be purchased, since it's not in our current catalog.
Thank you.
Is there a mandate on, you're given 5 days to respond to the SLAC committee. What about the SLAC to deal with those issues? If we are swamped with 300 books, obviously the committee can't handle that. So
Sure.
what is the time frame that we're going to look at there?
All that I've read is that it's within 90 days. So if we have 300 books, we'll have to figure out how we're going to manage that if they were all to be challenged at once. But
they would all be taken out of circulation.
They would all be taken out of circulation. So if worse comes to worse and we can't we can't handle that many books at one time, we would have to just keep them out of circulation until the following SLAC meeting.
Right.
I think we really can only expect so much from a volunteer committee on the workload that we would put on them.
But with those challenges submitted, they can stretch them, they can do them by batching them and getting them
Yes.
done, knowing
Yes.
that the harm is out of the way.
You're not going to know the answer to this probably, but what happens if someone challenges a book that they believe we have in circulation, but we don't actually have it in circulation?
My unofficial answer would be, after we've researched it, that I would just reach out to them and say, I would just let them know and have just an open conversation. Why did you think this was here? Where did you get your information? And if we have it identified somewhere that we had it in our library and it actually wasn't, then I think just a conversation, just saying we don't actually have that.
Okay,
that
thank
book.
you.
So will there be a formal avenue for every challenge? So are you taking that responsibility that you're going to pick up the phone and call each of those, or are you going to send a letter, or how are you going to deal with that if we?
So I would receive it and I would just note it as received, and then I would start going through the process. Once a decision is made, then we would, in writing, notify the person who submitted the challenge of the decision. Yes, sir.
So what if someone What if someone disagrees with SLAC and they're going to protest the book coming off? What do you do?
I'll have to look back at that. I believe that it is then appealed to the school board. It's appealed to you all.
I just wanted to add a little context here. I was in a meeting Friday. It's the Urban Curriculum Council, and it was 15 Houston, Austin, Katy, lots of bigger districts, and this conversation came up. One of the things that we're really dealing with right now is this is one of those laws we're supposed to put in place and have gotten no guidance on exactly how we're supposed to put it in place. So a lot of the questions that y'all are asking, Lindsay, right now, we haven't gotten any guidance to know for sure. And I will tell you, the room I was in, there was very wide opinions about, well, we think it means this. Well, our attorney said this. Well, this is, so some of the things you're kind of asking right now, we're going to keep searching for guidance on how we're supposed to legally deal with these kinds of things. But right now, we're just kind of getting the first steps of we need to get a SLAC in place. We need to get the process started. This is when we hit some of these things that we're like, we don't really know. We go, Stu, what do we do? Some of those kinds of things start to happen. So there are a whole lot of unknowns right now about this law, about the SLAC, and how all of this plays out.
I appreciate you making that comment, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about the books that are out there that are on the shelf that we can pull, and we can surely put guidelines in them, but to ban that book, we've heard that language before, and how does that affect us as a district to actually pull those versus putting guidelines on them?
And I think what we'll find is some of the stuff we heard tonight, like, I feel like we all agree, like, that would be a no-brainer. But there are books that people will challenge that aren't no-brainers. They are very much because of someone's personal beliefs on a much lower scale than what we heard tonight. So that will happen. They're not all going to be to the extent of the text that we heard this evening.
And some of these books are also part of the AP curriculum.
Not those books.
But not these books. But in general, some of the books that have been problematic in other districts across the state and U.S., some of those are subject to the AP guidelines. I think anybody with the internet we can shake our heads, but that's what they are. The other piece that I would point out is some people might take issue with stuff in the Bible. So I think that's part of public policy where there's a lot of gray that we have to be very careful and mindful of. Trust that we're doing the best we can. We're going to work together, and I appreciate all the time and energy that y'all are doing on this. I appreciate the work of our librarians. I appreciate the support of our admin and our staff. Give us some grace as we navigate this process.
Well, y'all are the tools that are in place to get the things that the community wants accomplished. So you, the librarians, the SLAC committee, they are the tools to accomplish what everyone in this room wants. So it is not going to happen in the morning by 7 a.m. nor will it happen until the legislature decides it is all the information so we can answer everybody's questions. So I am personally choosing to be grateful for the process that has been put in place that will remove contention and offer a proper pathway for people to get their concerns directly to the right people to get it done. A lot of times that's not me. I have to pick up the phone and call John, he has to pick up the phone and call you, and you have to pick up the phone and call Lindsay, and then Lindsay has to talk to all the librarians. So why not start with the librarians and the ones that know what they're doing? And that's what I am very thrilled that it seems like this process has been put into place to make that all come true for a goal that we all are quite on the same page.
Yes, ma'am.
I move to approve the School Library Advisory Council SLAC membership as presented.
There's been a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote with Rodney Goodman absent. Bill Enriquez?
Yes.
Blair Schrader?
Yes.
Danny Wheat?
Yes.
Cindy Earls?
Yes.
Angie Wiley? Yes. Taylor Tidmore?
Yes.
The motion passes 6-0. Let's now move on to item 9B, resolution for our District of Innovation. Ms. Allison Sims is returning, Associate Superintendent of the Development of Human Resources.
Yes. So earlier tonight, I presented to you some information about the District of Innovation process and am coming asking for you to adopt a resolution that will allow us to open that process up.
Okay. Is there a motion regarding the resolution for District Innovation?
I move to approve the adoption of a resolution for District of Innovation for Abilene Independent School District as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Cindy? We'll now take a roll call vote. Taylor Tidmore?
Yes.
Cindy Earls?
Yes.
Angie Wiley? Yes. Rodney Goodman, absent. Bill Enriquez?
Yes.
Danny Wheat?
Yes.
Blair Schrader?
Yes.
Vote passes 6-0. We'll now move to item 9C, District of Innovation Planning Committee.
Yes, so within 30 days or as soon as possible after the resolution is adopted, part of the board's job is then to appoint a committee to serve on the District of Innovation process, and I'm asking you to consider the list as presented.
Is there a motion regarding the District of Innovation Planning Committee? I move to approve the appointment of a District Innovation Planning Committee to develop a local innovation plan for Abilene ISD as presented.
Second.
Angie Wiley, yes. Blair Schrader?
Yes.
Cindy Earls?
Yes.
Taylor Tidmore?
Yes.
Danny Wheat?
Yes.
Rodney Goodman, absent. Bill Enriquez?
Yes.
Vote passes 6-0. Let's move to item 9D, nominations for the Board of Directors of Jones County Appraisal District. Ms. Jennifer Hines is at the podium, Chief Financial Officer for AISD.
Good evening. You heard Gary Ernest speak earlier, and he reminded you we don't have a board nomination this year for Taylor County, but we do for Jones County. So just a couple of quick reminders. Jones County has 6 places to fill. They serve 2-year terms, so this term would begin January 1st and end December 31st of 2027. There's a few things that they have to do to be eligible to be a nominee. This is kind of a regular cadence action that we do every 2 years, and the nomination has to be to Jones County by October 17th, so we're going to take care of that tonight. Mr. Jim Bailey has previously served for Abilene ISD, and he is willing to serve another term on the Jones County Appraisal District Board. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, but I would recommend nominating whomever you choose to serve, and then next month, after all of the nominations have been received, you would vote.
This is just a nomination?
Yes, sir.
For Jones County?
Yes, ma'am.
That's it.
Any
So
questions?
now, any questions? Is there a motion regarding the nomination to the Board of Directors of Jones County Appraisal District?
I move to approve the nomination of Jim Bailey to the Jones County Central Appraisal District Board of Directors as presented.
Thank you, Taylor Tidmore. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Cindy Earls. Danny Wheat?
Yes.
Angie Wiley? Yes. Taylor Tidmore?
Yes.
Cindy Earls?
Yes.
Blair Schrader?
Yes.
Bill Enriquez?
Yes.
Rodney Goodman, absent. The vote passes 6-0. Let's move to item 9E, agreement with Gymnastics Sports Center. John Kuhn can give us a little bit of insight on this.
Okay, give me just 1 second to bring this up on my phone here. This is something that we have to do based on one of the new laws from the legislative session that was just passed, and I am trying to get to that item on my agenda. Give me just 1 second, please. Here we go. So it was House Bill 3372 is the law that I'm talking about, and that was passed in the most recent legislative session. It requires a contract and a board resolution for any paid education-related duties performed by ISD administrators outside the scope of their employment contracts. And so the contract or letter agreement that you have before you is between Dr. Stephanie Jackson and Abilene ISD. There's also a related board resolution, and this is related to field trips that our students take to a gymnastics gym that is owned by Dr. Jackson. There is a cost associated with that to pay her workers when our students go on the field trip. It is a reduced cost compared to the cost that other school districts pay to take their students to the gymnastics gym. So I would recommend tonight that you approve both the letter agreement and the resolution related to this. Stu, did I do that right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any questions? Then is there a motion regarding the agreement with Gymnastics Sports Center?
I move to approve the agreement contract with Gymnastics Sports Center for hosting school field trips along with the related resolution as presented.
Second.
Let's take a roll call vote. Cindy Earls?
Yes.
Danny Wheat?
Yes.
Bill Enriquez?
Yes.
Angie Wiley? Yes. Rodney Goodman, absent. Blair Schrader?
Yes.
Taylor Tidmore?
Yes.
Vote passes 6-0.
Stu, do they need to do a separate vote for the resolution? That was the contract agreement, right? Or the letter agreement?
I would recommend a second motion for the resolution.
Thank you.
So we just agreed to the,
It says along with the related resolution.
Oh, okay. Did you say that in your motion?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed it. Okay.
I wouldn't mess that up.
Okay. Thank you.
okay, so is that,
Not
My apologies, I didn't hear you.
no, okay. Well,
He knows what he said, so you're good.
you got that, Robin. All right. There has not been any further business in front of me. Being so, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody, for your attendance tonight.
The time is 8:45.